Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hi, this is Herbert and Have from the Netherlands of company Fizyr, and you're listening to the New Warehouse podcast. Today's safety tip is always to assume for the worst. Anything can happen. How does your robot deal with it?
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. How do you create warehouse superheroes? The answer is simple. With visual voice scan solutions from ProSensus. With record demand and labor shortages, warehouses need more effective workers and lightning-fast onboarding. Visual voice scan solutions from ProSensus enable warehouse workers to achieve superhero performance with up to 20% improved productivity and up to 99% accuracy. Hands-free barcode scanners from ProGlove paired with wearable mobile computers is just the beginning. Improved mobile interfaces with reduced keystrokes, easy-to-read screens, custom keyboards, voice-enabled interface, and more can be realized with ease on the leading WMS platforms. Sound too good to be true? Let us show you with our one-of-a-kind virtual demo. Visit prosensus.com to get started today. Again, that's prosensus.com to get started.
The New Warehouse podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I am going to be joined by Herbert. He is located over in the Netherlands, and he is the CEO of a company called Fizyr, who is focused on computer vision in the logistics space, primarily helping for robotics companies to be able to utilize their software and create deeper learning and also the computer vision and help us to be able to better identify different products when it comes to processes like order picking and depalletizing and other processes as well. So we're going to talk to Herbert about Fizyr, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about computer vision as well, and also about how Fizyr is helping companies to really evolve in the robotics space, and then also how they're tackling some different logistics processes and what the real benefit is to utilizing computer vision. So, Herbert, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Definitely happy to have you on. Happy to connect from different sides of the world, right? It's good to connect. So, tell us a little bit about Fizyr and what it is that you guys really do.
Yeah, Fizyr was started by Professor Martijn Wisse, robotics professor of the TU Delft. So we're a spin-off and started as an integrator, but at some point after winning the Amazon and the picking and stowing challenge, we pivoted into a computer vision only company.
Okay.
So we've been doing that for the last 5 years. We successfully grew bootstrapped. Now our company with about 30 people, providing one product to enable robots to cope with unknown items and products and to simulate them, and also to do stacking, 3D stacking, like playing Tetris in 3D.
Oh, okay. All right. Very interesting. And it's interesting. So you guys started from kind of the picking side of the robotics, you sound like, and then you spun off into, it started maybe like more with hardware, but now you spun off to just the software side. Is that correct?
Correct. We started as being an integrator, so we built picking cells, so we supported them, and so we had a brilliant team. But the essence of our solution was a neural network enabling the robot to see what it needs to see to do the picking. And so we pivoted at that point and say we want to only do the computer vision. We want to build one product, and we want to be only in logistics. And that's what we've been doing for the last 5 years.
Very interesting. So I'm curious, back at that time when the pivot was made, I guess, a lot of companies have focused on the hardware side of robotics, and building out these robots and things. And obviously you guys chose to go in the software direction. So, what was the real, trigger or maybe market indicator to decide to go and pursue the software side versus the hardware?
Okay. Maybe to generalize it, we believe that a lot of companies can do building a picking cell, doing the integration. So that's not unique. It requires certain knowledge, but at some point they should be able to do this. But the key thing that is really the enabler of having a robot in a picking cell in logistics is having a neural network that brings you the information that is needed for safely picking and stacking. And so that was our specialism, and we believe that we could help a lot of companies with that. And so our aim was always to let's say, be the Google Maps of robotics, be the standard, which was well enough for everybody to say, okay, proven technology, a lot of integrators are using it, and I want to use it because it gives me the guarantee it will work for any hardware, etc.
Okay, very interesting. I like that, the Google Maps for robotics, right? That's very good. So now tell us a little bit about, I'm curious because you mentioned this before we started recording, but what does Fizyr mean?
It means scope. It's a Dutch word, a Dutch and German word. Scope of let's say, of a rifle. So we look where we need to grasp. So that's where scope, as well as we look in the future. So we are always on the edge with the newest technology, new applications. So our team is all about if there is something new, somebody found it, the next day they will be talking about it, and always trying new things.
Okay, very interesting. I like that because you guys are working on the vision aspect, and like you said, even in there, that you're targeting basically the item that needs to either be picked up or moved or whatever the case may be. So we're talking about computer vision here. That's your main focus from Fizyr, and maybe some people are not so familiar with computer vision and how it's involved in the logistics space. Obviously, we want to teach here on the podcast as well. So why don't you give us your breakdown of what computer vision is and really how it's helping in the robotics space, specifically in logistics industry.
Okay. Computer vision is used for I think 15 years or so in robotics, and mostly is based on heuristics. So you have a CAD model of an object, and you're looking with your system to find that CAD model. But that doesn't work in logistics, where the parts are always changing. Just take Amazon, the number of SKUs they have, or do parcel handling like UPS, Federal Express. They've got a lot of parcels. So if you drop a bag, you drop it 1,000 times in front of the camera, then the robot will see 1,000 different bags. But this is the same bag. So in order to teach the robot, you need to teach it to generalize. You have to build a neural network to generalize and to tell the robot, this is also a box, or this is also a bag, and this is where you can grasp it. So that's what we add value. So it's you can see us as an extension of the camera. The robot give us grasp locations and all kinds of information which is relevant, and then we will provide that to the robot so the robot can take the move and then go to the next section.
Okay, very interesting, and it's certainly something that I think is a big step for robotics, because I think a lot of times before, the initial concentration for robotics was just kind of moving material from point A to point B, and now to actually to be able to decipher between different products and understand, what needs to be picked or moved specifically, and how to grip it, as you mentioned too, is a huge advancement as well. So, it takes a lot of the automation to the next level, in a sense of being able to do some things that for a time where, only humans could do and robotics necessarily couldn't do as well. So it's really interesting. And you mentioned in there the learning aspect as well. So I'm curious, for reference, when computer vision comes into play and when we start to bring in these robots that are utilizing the computer vision into our warehouse, how long does it take for the robot and the computer vision to actually learn the product and understand those things that you mentioned, like the gripping points and the grasping points. And you mentioned in there too, I mean, Amazon, constantly evolving with millions of SKUs. How long does it take for that software to kind of adapt and learn these different things?
Out of the box.
Out
it's
of the
already
box.
trained.
Okay.
Yes, it's you can compare it with a kid, with a toddler. Kid can see a box or a bag or a tube and all those kind of items and can pick them. That's more or less the same thing we trained the neural network to cope with the unknown, to find the best possible grasp pose looking at a certain object. So we don't need to train it. It's already trained. So of course we have a special neural network for parcels, maybe for boxes or bags specifically if needed, but also for groceries. We do a lot in the micro fulfillment of groceries. We do a lot in apparel. We do depalletizing or picking big bags from a pallet. So, but it's already trained, out of the box, install it, and it should work.
Very interesting. I'm interested to hear that because I talked to, I guess, some other companies who are utilizing, machine learning and those types of things. And it takes a while, I guess, for some of them to compile the data to be able to understand everything. So how is it that this is a little different, that like out of the box, it knows right away what to do?
Yeah, of course, we can always tweak it a bit and make it a little bit better. But in principle, it should work. So we have many cases. We are replacing the software of various other players out there, and one was depalletizing big bags of powder, milk powder, whatever. And the other player were very proud that they could pick 85% of the bags. For us, it's like having a washing machine you have to restart every minute. It's not a washing machine. It's not automated at all.
Yeah.
So we were able to get it to 99.99 whatever percentage. So very, very robust, and so that's what we do. And again, we can tweak it a bit and take out weird cases like maybe packaging material, package slip, or anything else that could be there, rubbish. But other than that, it should work out of the box immediately.
Very interesting, and I love your analogy there to the washing machine that has to be turned on every minute. It's pretty funny. So I mean, it's very interesting, and obviously, I think for a lot of people to be able to want to adopt this technology and be more comfortable bringing robotics in, working out of the box is a huge key to that, especially for, I mean, obviously, some of the larger players in the field, like you mentioned, Amazon in there and things like that, they have the money and the runway to kind of do some, R&D and test some things and things like that. But some of the smaller players where, they're really being kind of hurt by labor shortages and things of that nature, they don't necessarily have that extra cushion to be able to test things like that, and like you said, have something that's maybe only 85% effective versus working out of the box and being 100%. So it's great that you're bringing that to the industry and that the technology is that strong that you're able to use it like that, and I think it'll just help increase the adoptability even more from people in the logistics space. So we're focused on the logistics space itself with Fizyr, which I think is a good thing. I mean, I think we see so much technology evolving and accelerating in our space as well, especially as we're seeing such an increase in demand as things move more towards e-commerce, and especially with the pandemic pushing things in that way, and people not even being able to go out to shop normally. But one of the things in my various conversations over the last 3 years doing the podcast, one of the challenges from a robotics standpoint has been to automate the actual piece picking. So, there's been certainly robots that can easily grasp a carton or a case, but then when we get to things that are not so rigid in a sense and need to be gripped with more of like a hand, it's been something that people have said it has been challenging to kind of come up with a technology that's effective. And now what you're saying, I mean, 100% out of the box seems like you guys are pretty effective, but how have you guys kind of looked at this challenge and kind of tackled it with the software to be able to now meet those needs in the industry?
Yeah. Piece picking is a wide area, so let us be a little bit more specific. So mostly it's about picking from a tote, let's say 60 by 40 centimeters. And sometimes there are also dividers. And mostly there is an automated storage and retrieval system bringing the goods that the robot can pick towards the robot. So it's goods to man system, or in this case, goods to robot system. So you're able to control which type of goods should go to the robot. Let's say teddy bear. It's not likely that you have that to a robot to be picked, but other items you can, like boxes and bags and stuff, you can be safely enable a robot to pick them if the weight is okay and the gripper is okay. So the limitation is, like I said, hardly ever on the computer vision, but it's mostly in the gripper, the end effector, coping with the variance of products, as well as how fast can you accelerate and decelerate and make a move without throwing it away. So it's an inertia of the product and how well it's connected to the gripper. So those are the challenges, much less in computer vision. So in item picking, we do a lot in grocery, micro fulfillment, and we do a lot also in clothing, apparel, which is also hard because it's transparent and it's poly bags, so it can also be reflective. And sometimes the apparel is only in a corner of the bag, so you need to be smart on that in order to make it robust. But yeah, again, it's in production, so it runs well, and mostly the system integrators have a good knowledge of which products will be brought to which robot, so they can optimize the cell.
Very interesting. And you mentioned in there some packages are like shiny, right? And so I saw on the website you have a video on there where you kind of, one of the highlights in the video is the ability for it to decipher similar packages of the same color. So tell us a little bit about why is that something to highlight, or why has that been maybe difficult in the past, and something that's you're, I guess, proud to show off.
Yeah, actually, it's quite simple. You should just think of yourself of looking into the camera, and based on what you see in the camera, you need to grab something.
Right.
If you have to put light on an object, and if it shines back like a mirror into the camera, you're looking into light, so you cannot distinguish the different objects. So that's mostly a bit challenging. So we have solutions for that. If it's closely stacked, it looks like one. So then if you don't do the segmentation properly, then the system will think it is one object, but it's actually two, and then you can have a double pick or the wrong pick or no picks at all. So that's really a failure. So we are very, very proud of our system performing the segmentation and preventing double picks. Unless it sticks together, then you cannot prevent it, of course, and you have to do a check later on at placement.
Okay, very interesting. It makes total sense. I was wondering how's that being tackled, and what's I guess what was the real challenge there. So it definitely explains it. Makes a lot of sense. So you've given us a lot of information about computer vision today, and certainly a learning experience for myself and for some listeners too as well, I'm sure. So one thing I do want to ask you about before we wrap up here, I mean, on your website you say that Fizyr is the world's best vision software for automation. So I want you to tell us, how have you guys become the world's best? And you mentioned in there earlier too a little bit about how you've been replacing some of these players that are only 85% effective. So tell us a little bit about how you kind of gotten to that point, and what's really solidifying you in the space as the world's best.
Thanks. Yeah, I actually leave that up to our clients to decide on that. So they give us that name, so they tell us what they've seen in the market. We are very atypical compared to any other competition or players out there because we grew bootstrapped. And to be honest, it was tough because the university, being a big shareholder, told us make money, make profit from day one. And that was tough. And so I needed to ask money for everything we did from clients. So we charged money. And so that means that the client told us exactly what they needed, how it should work. And so in that case, if we delivered, we validated our product. And that's how we grew, and that's how we learned. And we didn't do that with just one client, but we did it for, I think at the early stage already with 8 or 10 clients. So we were working for 10 different big companies, telling us exactly what they need and how it should work. And so that's how we learned. And so we grew, and And so we had maybe a slow start because we could not directly build the product. We were working for the different companies, but since it was all in the same domain, we could consolidate all their requests and make something that was generic to them. That's why I said that we wanted to be the Google Maps for robotics.
Mhm.
And I think we succeeded because we are scaling very fast.
Yeah.
We don't need to go to a client. Many of our clients we've never seen. So we can all remote help them to install our software and get into production. And we even have end users, big end users using our software direct without an integrator. They can say, well, we can do it ourselves. So we believe we created something that's of great value and robust, and it's out there. And we didn't burn a lot of money, so we can really bring value for a reasonable price. So we believe we want to stay the standard in this field.
Okay, very interesting, and it's good to hear. And I think that interesting business lesson in there as well is charging the clients like right away, and not kind of doing these experiments, R&D type of situations. And obviously, when you tell someone they have to pay you, they're going to tell you exactly what they need for their service, right? So, or for that money in exchange. So very interesting stuff. And obviously, making a big step and leap and help for the robotics industry and in the logistics space as a whole. So we definitely appreciate that. And it's very interesting to learn about this, and obviously, diving deeper into computer vision as well, and how these things are kind of going to impact us going forward into the future. So Herbert, I want to thank you for joining me today on this show. If people are interested in learning more about Fizyr, how can they do that?
Just connect with me on LinkedIn or find our website or one of our integrators. We've got a lot of integrators, more than 20 globally, so they use our software, so you can help end users.
Okay, great. And we'll put all the information at thenewwarehouse.com as well, so people can find it easily and learn more about you guys and connect with you as well and chat you up. So that'll be very good. So Herbert, thank you once again for your time on the show today.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.